At the start of the film, a young girl, badly wounded, runs from the jungle in a panicked state and enters a house. It appears to be her home, where she hides under a bed, clearly terrified. A woman is chasing her and knocks on the door, calling out, "Gayatri, come out." When the door opens, Gayatri is visibly frightened, but the woman can't find her and leaves. Gayatri lets out a sigh of relief, but it is short-lived. Suddenly, a demonic hand covers her mouth, and in the next moment, she is dragged back into the jungle by a mysterious force. The scene cuts, and we find two people playing chess. We see the man, but the woman remains unseen. The man comments, "Miss Gayatri is very professional at what she does. I don't know how long this will take." The woman replies, "You must be patient." The man then asks, "How much patience?" "It's been 20 years of waiting." "What were they talking about?" "We haven't been told yet." The scene shifts again. We are introduced to a girl named Dewi, who is very poor. She works as an internet provider to support her household. Her mother is mentally unstable, and Dewi spends most of her time caring for her. Dewi's mother often warns her that one day, they will come and take her away, causing harm. Dewi reassures her mother, saying no one is coming for them. "Since childhood, you've been saying they'll take us, but no one has ever come, and no one will come today either." Her mother is also concerned about her brother and calls him in a panic, asking where he is. Sena replies that he's at work with his boss, doing a night shift. However, he's lying, as he's actually with his boss's wife, doing extra work for more money. But things might change from that day forward, as his boss's wife told him that her husband had found out everything. When Sena comes home, Dewi scolds him harshly for his behavior, which has been making their mother sick. The next morning, Dewi goes to work. She's supposed to install an internet connection at the police station, but the inspector refuses her service, citing that Dewi's brother had an affair with his wife. He takes his frustration out on Dewi. That night, while Dewi is sleeping beside her mother, she senses something strange near her curtains. She checks outside but finds no one. However, two masked men suddenly break into the house. One man ties Dewi up, while the other begins torturing her mother in front of her. During this, the men receive a call from Sena's boss, asking about his whereabouts. They inform him that Sena is not home. Dewi realizes that whatever is happening to her is connected to her brother. Dharma, the men's leader, orders them to kill Dewi's mother to make sure Sena understands the consequences of his actions. They drown Dewi's mother in the bathtub while Dewi watches silently. The next morning, the police arrive, but the inspector, who is actually Sena's boss, does not press any charges, and Dewi's life is left in ruins. Dewi, filled with anger, contemplates throwing Sena out, but she realizes she has no one else and cannot leave him. That night, while going through her mother's belongings, Dewi finds an old photograph that reveals her father, Mr. Aegon, was the man seen earlier in the film playing chess. As Dewi studies the photo, the lights in her room suddenly go out. She senses a strange presence and turns to find her deceased mother sitting behind her. Terrified, Dewi is convinced it's an illusion. However, the lights come back on, and her mother disappears. The next day, Mr. Aegon arrives to meet Dewi and Sena. Dewi refuses to speak with him, blaming him for abandoning them and causing them a lifetime of hardship. Mr. Aegon tries to convince Dewi to go with him, explaining that they need to leave the painful memories behind. Although Dewi is reluctant, Sena believes they should go with their father, especially after everything that has happened to them. Mr. Aegon leaves, telling Sena to talk to Dewi and that he will return to take them again. That night, Dewi hears a tap running outside and assumes Sena left the faucet on. She goes outside to turn it off, but then hears another tap running inside the bathroom. This time, along with the sound of water, she hears her mother's voice pleading, "Dewi, save me." Dewi opens the bathroom door to find her mother's dead body in the bathtub. As Dewi turns around in shock, her mother's body grabs her face, looking terrifying. Her mother screams, "Dewi, save me. I'm in danger." Dewi wakes up, realizing it was just a nightmare. Hearing her scream, Sena rushes into her room to comfort her. Sena urges Dewi that they cannot stay in this house any longer. The house is filled with memories of their mother, and Dewi agrees to leave after seeing her deteriorating mental state. The next morning, Mr. Aegon returns to take Dewi and Sena. They pack their things quietly and go with him. They arrive at their new home, where Mr. Aegon introduces them to Hesti, the the housemaid, and to their grandmother, Miss Gayatri. This is the same Gayatri from the beginning of the film. Miraculously, she is still alive. At dinner, Gayatri tells them about the family's tradition, saying that the women in their family have always managed the house and the business. She states that after her, Dewi will have to take over. Later that night, Sena begins exploring the house and stumbles upon a room with many strange pictures, some of which have crosses marked on the faces of certain women. Suddenly, the door to the room begins knocking loudly, as if someone is inside. Before Sena can open it, Hesti arrives and warns him that it's a secret room belonging to his grandmother, and it's forbidden to enter. That night, while Dewi listens to music, she hears a whisper and sees her mother standing outside her window, looking terrifying with an injured face. Dewi believes it's just a hallucination, but when she looks again, her mother is walking toward her with a twisted body. Scared, Dewi covers her face with a blanket. When she peeks out, her mother is almost at her bed. Dewi screams. The next day, Gayatri takes Dewi and Sena to the family's cattle farm. There, Dewi witnesses an animal being slaughtered, which triggers disturbing hallucinations of her mother being killed in the same way. She vomits, and Gayatri and Hesti take care of her. Gayatri introduces Dewi to Mr. Jaka, who works at the farm. Jaka mentions that the business has been losing money for the past few years. Dewi learns that Gayatri has been running the farm since 1935, which seems impossible since she doesn't appear to be over 100 years old. This makes Dewi suspicious. Later, Dewi overhears a conversation between Gayatri and Hesti about the deteriorating health of the cattle farm and Gayatri's own worsening health. They discuss the inheritance process, but Dewi dismisses it, believing that Gayatri is simply old and frail. Sena, intrigued by the conversation, shares his concerns with Dewi. However, Dewi brushes it off. Meanwhile, Dewi hears her mother's voice again and becomes frightened. When she turns to look, Hesti is there, startling her. Hesti reassures her, advising her not to believe rumors about Gayatri. She claims that people are jealous of their family's success. Hesti and Gayatri secretly discuss plans, and Hesti urges Gayatri to complete the ritual soon. They are running out of time, and Dewi's presence is necessary for the ritual to begin. However, Mr. Aegon and Jaka want to stop it. The film reveals that Gayatri's family has been carrying out a dark ritual for generations, with the demon possessing the women of the family. Gayatri has been trying to pass the demon on to Dewi, and once Dewi arrived, Gayatri's health began to decline as the demon started to consume her from within. Hesti too is involved in the ritual, but Aegon and Jaka want to prevent it. Aegon, desperate to save his children, brings a strange knife and plans to kill his mother to stop the demon. Before he can act, Hesti kills him and drags his body away. The next morning, Jaka finds Aegon's body and believes it's a suicide, but the staff thinks Jaka is responsible. Dewi and Sena, devastated by their mother's and father's deaths, continue to live in the house. Dewi refuses to leave, believing she must stay. Meanwhile, Hesti manipulates Sena, telling him that Jaka was responsible for Aegon's death. She convinces him to meet her in the slaughterhouse. When Dewi is in her room, grieving, she hears her mother's voice again. To her horror, she sees her mother, looking completely healthy. Dewi breaks down and embraces her mother, but it's revealed that she's not holding her mother, but the demon. Dewi has become possessed by the entity. Sena, trying to find Dewi, is lured into a trap by Jaka, who reveals the full truth of the family's dark history. Before Jaka can explain further, Sena kills him. He discovers a book in his father's trunk that explains the ritual, including the sacrifice required. He now realizes Dewi is in danger. Desperate to save her, Sena tries to reach Dewi, but it's too late. Gayatri has already begun the ritual. Sena, knowing the demon must be stopped, rushes to find Dewi. However, he is captured by Hesti, who forces him to sacrifice himself for the ritual. Dewi, now fully possessed, drinks her brother's blood, completing the ceremony. In the end, the demon takes over Dewi's body, and she becomes its new host. The film closes, leaving the audience with a chilling sense of what has transpired.